Oh, I was not emotionally prepared for MAID, the new dramatic limited series on Netflix. Are you going to be binging it? After fleeing an abusive relationship, a young mother finds a job cleaning houses as she fights to provide for her child and build them a better future. Margaret Qualley stars as Alex. She's a young mom who finds herself up against insurmountable odds at just about every turn when she decides to escape her abusive relationship. This limited series is 10 episodes of just claustrophobic and suffocating drama. Now, I know that sounds like a negative, but it's really not. The series is wildly addictive, but it's also emotionally draining. Now, Qualley is vulnerable, defeated, and then indomitable when it comes to her daunting circumstances. This poor girl just can't catch a break, and when it seems like she's about to, the entire world comes crashing down again. Alex is a very sympathetic character, and not just because of her circumstances. She exudes this inner worth that makes us feel compassion and root for her, but there are some times too, though, where she's her own worst enemy. As the story unfolds more and more over the episodes, we get insight into Alex's upbringing and her environments that really did help to shape where she's at now. The cast of characters in this is an awesome mix of insanity, compassion, and anger. Andie MacDowell plays Alex's mom, and whoa, what a performance. She is sweet and stabbing and just an emotional tornado. Every interaction is unreliable and stressful, but then it's also sadistically enjoyable. MacDowell absolutely nails her character, crafting somebody who is hard to take in, but yet someone we can't tear our eyes away from. Nick Robinson plays Sean, the one that Alex is escaping from, and it's easy to dislike him because we see dirtbag just written all over him. But then the confusing thing happens where we get glimpses of who this guy could be. He has the potential to be a very sweet and caring guy, but he's filled with demons that too often take over. There were clear points where I was conflicted just over how to feel about him. Annika Noni Rose plays this wealthy woman whose house is cleaned by Alex, and just like all of the characters in Alex's life, she is emotionally uneven, with some interactions being very nice and compassionate, and then others just being rude and biting. Now, there is a certain level of humor that also comes from the conversations that the two have, and I think they're especially amusing because there is so much truth inside the words that are shared. Now, outside of Alex, she's my favorite character. She's not always likable, but she is fierce and someone who shows incredible growth through the series. Well, I kind of lied. I do have one other favorite character. She's Denise, played by B.J. Harrison. Now, first, her voice is just magically soothing, and I can't wait to hear her speak. Then the way she crafted her character just oozed compassion and crafted somebody that I'd love to meet in real life. Now, the show is a nerve-wracking and emotionally draining experience, and I love how the series uses some very creative ways to let us inside Alex's head to see what she's thinking, feeling, or experiencing. Now, at one point, she's in court, and all kinds of legalese is being thrown about, and all Alex can hear is legal, 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 legal. And at other points, we see her retreat into her head out of self-preservation and safety, and the visuals used are very effective as we see Alex just engulfed in this dark space, unmoving and barely even breathing. Now, this is used a little bit inconsistently because it is present more in the beginning of the series than it is towards the latter half, so that disparity is noticed. I love how one of the themes in this show is how we can have Alex, who cleans and organizes messes for other people's lives, but never gets the opportunity to do it for herself. And yet, in the midst of all of the obstructions, she just never gives up. Now, some of the timelines are a bit wonky with the passage of time, and I found it hard to keep track sometimes of whether days or weeks had passed during some of the scenes. Now, I know this is a minor issue, but it was noticeable again to me. This show is going to take some willpower to endure, and not only because it's so emotionally draining. It is 10 episodes, and each episode is just about an hour long, so it is really the time investment. Now, the pace is patient, even bordering on slow at times, but that doesn't mean it drags. There is a driving force to the narrative that just compelled me to keep watching more. And the episodes are wildly engaging, so I can certainly see how you'd binge a ton in one sitting, but you may also find yourself needing to take an emotional break. Now, there are multiple times through this that there are repetitive portions, and some I think could be trimmed to cut down the overall time, but also, depending on where you cut, if you trimmed all of them, the story would lose its punch. We have to walk through this crushing journey with Alex and go through a lot of the nuances that she does, otherwise her progression just wouldn't feel as genuine or earned. And through pretty much the entire 9th episode, I had tears welling up. There were so many different emotions coursing through. Some happy and uplifting, others dark and depressing. And this isn't the only time the show had this effect on me. I connected so well with the characters and the story, even though I have never been on the same emotional journey as Alex. This is one of those shows that will wreck you in all the right ways. And as wonderfully executed as it is, it's probably not something that I'm going to ever revisit. And you probably also don't want to have anything that could be launched at the TV, because there are more than a handful of times where I found myself yelling at the characters because of outrage, frustration, and disbelief at the situations. So overall, MAID is an emotionally draining drama with a central character who is charismatic and sympathetic. The limited series is wrought with anxiety as we watch our protagonist gain strength and self-confidence amidst terrible circumstances. The acting is phenomenal, creating characters that are wildly complex and evoking a gamut of emotions, and sometimes at breakneck speeds. While the show is long and there are some opportunities to trim it down some, the end result is a powerful examination of a woman fighting the world, and sometimes herself, in order to grasp a better opportunity for her daughter. There's sex, no nudity, a ton of profanity, and some violence, which also includes descriptions and the aftermath of domestic abuse. I give MAID 4.5 out of 5 couches. So what's a powerful drama you've seen recently? I'd love to hear what you watched in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.